Sup nerds, I'm Tom with Neverboard Gaming. I'm joined with my buddies Shawn and Renee.
Hey.
So we're going to cut down all the cards in the first chapter pack for the War of the Five Kings cycle called Across the Seven Kingdoms. Whoa. All right, and Shawn, why don't you take it away? Let's look at this first card here.
All right. So this first card is an event. It is 0 cost. It's called the Dragon's Tail. Keyworded Omen. Action, choose an opponent. You and that player each draw 2 cards.
What are our thoughts, Shawn?
Initially, I'm just like, a bad player is going to take this, look at it, play it, and be like, oh, it's card draw. But you could very easily accelerate your opponent into just winning the game. So I imagine that if you're going to play this, this is going to go into something that might be intrigue heavy. Mm-hmm. So you're knocking whatever's important out of their hands so that 2 cards may not necessarily matter, that you've just had card advantage the entire game.
Yeah, especially if you're Lannister and you're whittling their hand down to nothing. It's like, go ahead, get those 2 cards because I'm going to get rid of them just right now. 3 claim intrigue.
It's the same idea in like most card games where whenever you give your opponent more than you get for yourself, you have to be really careful around it. I'm not super fond of it. I could see it being good in, say, where you have key events that you want to draw, and you're just like, okay, I'm drawing 2 cards. I have a chance that one of these is Dracarys. He's not drawing Dracarys. Something key that you're really digging for, but.
Like, you're just not going to see, like, if you drop it against Baratheon's not going to draw something that's going to stop you from winning the game. That's just not the way their deck functions.
Yeah, they're a lot slower.
But the reality is, anytime you give your opponent something, you have to be very careful not to give them the game with it. And I'm not actually a huge fan of the card.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like trading with the Pentoshi, which again, I remember you say you don't like it a lot. I use it all the time.
I like it a lot. But
it's hard.
Again, you have to be careful.
Dude, it's just in this game, and it's very Game of Thrones-y. It's hard to find a card that's really good for you, but that doesn't have any sort of detriment.
A strict upside.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It's really hard to find that. And honestly, I might just play around with this card. I might try it. If you need it. You might, it's like, you need it.
I can see it out of like Tyrell or Lannister, anything with like a hard intrigue, particularly focus.
And it's weird that the first card of the pack was a neutral card. Usually they don't do that.
Well, it was specifically because it was the Dragon's Tail. It's the event that pre-heralded like the events in the books.
You read books.
I do.
I'm on I just finished season 4 of the show. I'm pretty behind, but there's still a lot of characters here that I don't recognize. So there's that. Let's on to the next card. So we've got Robb Stark. He is a 7 gold character. He is military and power icons on him. 5 strength. He's unique and loyal. He's king and lord traded. And his card text reads, Renown. During military challenges, Robb Stark gets +1 strength for each loyal character you control. And action. While Robb Stark is participating in a military challenge, choose a participating non-king character, stand that character, and remove it from the challenge. Limit once per challenge.
He's good. I don't have a lot of negative sides to him, other than the fact that you're making a choice between him and
Old Robb.
I imagine if you're playing a more defensively minded deck, like a lot of the Stark Denial / like Renown Farm decks that are going around now, he's probably not going to be as good. That said, I mean, he's a little higher on the cost curve. He's good at putting out raw numbers. Like when you're dealing with like Winterfell and like Milks and stuff like that seem to be kind of, at least around here, are more common. Just having bigger numbers can be really nice. Like just having good strength and icons is valuable.
He reminds me a lot of core Robert Baratheon in that he's got like a static boost that can throw his strength up real high. He's got a way to shut down another character during a challenge. In the case of like Robert Baratheon, it's the intimidate when you win. He can just throw somebody out of the challenge. The Renown, again, for the Renown rush. When I look at him and I look at the other Robb Stark is A, slightly cheaper, B, has a defensive tech that is unparalleled across the board.
Really good.
Yeah, I think Stark is just starting to get so many, good high-cost cards that you really have to pick and choose. You can't just, like, in Greyjoy, I still think it's still mostly Balon, Asha, Ewan Crozai are like the main ones. But in Stark now, it's more up in the air.
You can definitely go into the river, the Tully stuff now as well. Blackfish is good. The Caitlyn's, particularly again, Corsac Caitlyn is just so good.
Definitely. Especially given how popular Lannister and Martell are. It's just really good to be able to deny that stuff.
I think this is a build around card. Like you're going to build a deck that uses this as its capstone. This isn't something you just throw into any Stark deck.
This does not get the auto include trait. Boom. All right, Renee, you want to read this next one?
All right, River Run.
Reading.
It's a 2 gold location, unique. It's House Tully and it's Riverlands. Reaction: after power is gained or moved to a House Tully character, kneel River Run to have that character gain 1 power. I'm thinking that this is a card that's just saying revisit me in 3 packs, revisit me in a cycle.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's enough Tully stuff out there right now to include
just
it.
Caitlyn and Blackfish?
It's Catelyn, Blackfish, River Run Minstrel.
And House Tully, no, Tumblestone Knight's not, sorry.
No, and there may be 1 or 2 more generics, I'm not sure. But it's once a turn, it's a couple gold. If a Tully deck appears out of the the card pool in the future, people are definitely going to be looking back at this. Right now, it's not going in any of my decks.
Which is something we can probably be pretty sure of, as Tully was a definite sub-theme of the original Game of Thrones, the first edition. I mean, we're starting to see some functional reprints, some new stuff that's like new versions of older things as well. And the Tully stuff, I believe in the original, was also a bit of a power grab as well, which is an archetype we don't really see out of Stark right now, but they're beginning to set up the pieces for, which is like, Blackfish, like 2 or 3 more good power aggro cards, and you'll start seeing that become an archetype for Stark as well.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but all I keep thinking about is just Catelyn. The Catelyn, like, the fact that she can, when a character dies, I think it's limit twice per phase. When a character dies, so she can gain 4 power just from 2 characters dying. That can be
River Run is once a turn.
Once a turn.
After power is gained.
You have to kneel River.
Oh, because you have to kneel it. Okay, but still.
I get what you're saying.
The only problem with that, I find, is now you're choosing between Corsac Catelyn and Wolves of the North Catelyn, and Corsac Catelyn, again, that strong denial.
It depends on
it's a build around.
It's a build around. It's a build around, because I built a Caitlyn rush deck that's I think is pretty sweet.
No, for sure. I just like when I look at like the spread of everything, that Corsac Caitlyn of just you don't get to do anything. Good day, sir. It's just so good.
Yeah, that is dope. That is dope. All right, what's next? We got Sir Colin of Green Pools. 2 cost character, military and power, 1 strength, loyal. He's a knight traded, and during power challenges, Sir Colin of Green Pools gets +3 strength.
This is straight up. This is Claim Soak. This is a knight keyword for knights and ladies out of Tyrell. Outside of that, he doesn't have the best icon spread. Military power is pretty common.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like him a little more than that because he is hitting the 2 icon thing, and I do like the space of characters with asymmetrical strength. Like he's lower military and higher. Like think about Hedge Knight, right? Hedge Knight has a condition to get his second icon. He's got good strength on power challenges, and he's cheap. 2 is like a magic number for setups because if a lot of your stuff in your deck costs 2, well now you can get like even
you can easily do like a 3, 4, 5 card setup if you get the right.
Yeah.
That said, you're right. You do want to be able to claim soak him, so he's just like a 1-of in your deck. The knight keyword is solid, and it's probably just going to get better. So I think he's like way over the curve of like the neutral 2-drop 2 icon.
For sure.
Characters,
yeah. Especially since
you've got fealty as well. Potentially.
I was gonna say if you run him in a fealty deck, you can pay 1 gold for a 4 strength power character.
Not bad. I don't think he's bad by any means. I just he's a 2-cost bicon that occasionally gets kind of uppity. And the reality is
pity.
you just have to you have to balance him against that because he does get hit by first nose of winter. He's usually going to be something you're gonna hit as a chud.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but not bad. He goes into decks. I just don't see more than one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. There's a lot of cards in this pack that I was just kind of okay.
Yeah. Are you excited for the rest of the video?
I mean, no. There was some really good stuff as well. I just there are very few just out and out standout cards.
Yeah.
Lots of really neat like meta calls. Lots of really cool build around cards, but nothing that just screams.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring theme. They're things that I think need to belong in the meta, but they're costed. We'll get to them.
Speaking of
We'll definitely
which,
get to them.
Bitterbridge. I'll go ahead and take this one.
Yeah. Go
So we have Bitterbridge Encampment. It is a 3-cost location. It is unique. It is keyworded the Reach. It is a Tyrell loyal location. Reaction: after a summer plot card is revealed, kneel Bitterbridge Encampment. Then each player may put a character into play from his or her hand. I'm going to go ahead and just go back to that first card. You know, sometimes you can hand the opponent the game.
Yeah.
That said, though, this actually plays a lot better in just a pure intrigue thing because if they have no cards in hand, they're not getting a character.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing, and this is just me personally, summer plot card. Let me choose my own plot card. Stop forcing me to deck build my plot deck in a specific way. I want to choose any plots that I think I want. I don't like it. Get out of here.
I mean, it's a great card if you're in a melee and you absolutely must king make that Master Dragon player across the table from you.
That's specific.
But I mean, it's a dangerous card. It's expensive, and the conditions under which it's good are not
narrow.
likely to occur frequently. You have to be late in the game. You have to play it. Then you have to shred their hand down to 0, and you have to have something worth playing. And you've been playing lots of summer plots. Summer plots provide gold. You're Tyrell, you have gold. Why isn't your big guy already on the table?
Right. Elena would get it on the table. You would play it. That's what a noble cause is for.
Tyrell's big characters aren't that great currently, I think. They have some good mid-range stuff, like Net of Flowers is really strong, but I mean, like, do they have anything that makes you scared, like Tywin or Daenerys? Or,
not particularly.
Or like Miri Mazdur, you know, it's...
That said, though, you can use this on bannered characters.
You can.
So Miri Mazdur is something you can put down later in the game.
Yeah, but remember, Tyrell's your primary house if you're using it, because it's
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying that it is. It doesn't say Tyrell character. It doesn't say loyal
That is
character.
true.
It is. I mean, weirdly enough, like this could throw Mance Raider into play. I know that's not something you would normally think about, but you know, it's
and
there.
It does actually have the reach keyword. I believe that there's a location in the core set that keys off of reach.
Why are you looking at me? I don't play Tyrell.
I believe you're right. I don't remember the name. I think it's one of the Knights.
I doubt it will be relevant, but I might look back at that and see what's up.
Speaking of relevance, Night's Watch. All right. Meaning
That
nobody
segue-
plays Night's Watch.
Alright.
That segue was rough.
Oh man, so rough.
Alright.
I think I'm funny. We've got Ari. He is a 4-cost character. He's military and intrigue, 3 strength, loyal to the Night's Watch, and his subtype is recruit. He also has an ambush cost of 4, and if you control Arya Stark, sacrifice Ari. Am I saying his name right?
It's her and
Her?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's Arya Stark when she's being marched to the wall, sort of like she's like off with the Night's Watch. And
So
they're marching
after-
north.
I haven't gotten there yet.
After she-
Spoilers!
You have
No.
It's the first season.
That's in the first season?
yeah, it's after Ned's killed and Arya runs off and she hooks up with all
Or maybe second season.
second
Okay,
season. Yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
So anyway, for everybody that spoilers, this is Arya, which is why you can't control both at the same time.
Yeah, and also, I forgot, the action has on here that you can return her to your hand to draw 1 card. There we go. What do we think?
First of all, I like the icon spread. I always like military intrigue. It's one of the rarer combinations. She's got a good strength. She's not hit by first nose of winter. She is loyal, which I don't know how I feel about that in Night's Watch. I go back and forth. They have money issues.
They do.
Her ambush cost is fine because it's no more than her actual cost. The action, I think, is going to tempt newer players into bad plays. Potentially.
Oh.
The ambush does help, though.
Yeah. Actually, I like her because of ambush. Ambush is what I think she's a very solid card. What are you trying to do with Night's Watch? You're trying to not lose on opposed challenges. I mean, once you get the wall down, that's like
Sure.
that is your MO. That is what you're trying to do. After they've declared the challenge, I'm fairly certain stealth goes off. Then you could ambush, so they can't stealth
Correct.
around her.
So
If they're playing someone like Nymeria, they can't remove her icon because she's not on the table when they declare the challenge.
yep.
So I mean,
Though you actually have to be careful with that because hers is an action as well.
Mhm.
So what happens is say I'm declaring a couple stealth characters as attackers. I declare attackers. I pick my stealth targets. We now go to the declare defender step. There's an action window. Say it's you have priority. You can pass. I ambush an Arya. You can then choose to take Nymeria. Yeah, there is actually a window to do so.
Then I guess in that condition is not very useful. But I still think having ambush is nice. Now the question is, how often do you have 4 gold floating as Night's Watch? I mean, you have to...
Because you also can't fealty her.
Fealty during an ambush.
Correct, because you're not marshalling.
Because you're not marshalling
Yeah,
her.
of course.
You're using a card ability. So I think she's good. I like her strength and icons. I like ambush actually gives her brings something good to Night's Watch. But it's going to be hard for them to routinely use her ability, I feel.
Are there any other card effects that will let you put a character into play other than ambush? And the reason why I'm asking is because in the last couple of weeks, I haven't even been playing a lot of Thrones. I've been playing so much Netrunner and Lord of the Rings that my brain's like, oh, I could sneak attack this. Wait, that's not.
That's not the
Yeah,
I had 2 cards come to mind. One is the one that he said, Arion Martell.
Yeah, okay.
The other one is Olenna, but I think that's only a Tyrell character,
Yes,
isn't
Tyrell
it?
only.
So that won't work for this.
So yeah. Okay, so in the the very common Martell Night's Watch matchup, yeah, that's the only other thing I can see is dropping her down for free essentially in order to draw a card. But even that's not like that's like a Hail Mary type of thing.
I mean, you can do some kind of weird stuff with it if you have a bunch of Martell like cost reducers in play and you play Arion. It's not going to be worth the setup.
Yeah.
Headache.
That's the only other thing I was thinking was that.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha.
I think you're going to throw her into play, leave her there, and she's just going to do what she does. And if you absolutely need to draw a card, you can do that.
Or it could also be something as simple as I'm wildfiring next turn. I'm just going to return it into my hand, draw a card, then plot reveal.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
good.
You know, little stuff like that.
And she's in your hand, which is good. Yeah.
Let's Renee, let's look at the next one.
Okay, so this is White Tree. It's unique. It's a 3-cost location, loyal for the Night's Watch. It is contested and the north. Reaction: after an opponent collects income, kneel White Tree to move 1 gold from that player's gold pool to your own. What do you guys think?
First of all, I think that's the first time we've seen a contested keyword.
It may be, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Second of all, I think this is a 2 of in Night's Watch. If only because it A, screws with your opponent's income math, and B, gives you a gold, which is something Night Watch needs.
Yeah. This makes me think, though, of some of the other more like expensive econ locations, in that you kind of want to see it early for it to pay off as much as possible. It's one of those things like you want it early, and then you're going to hate drawing those duplicates. So it's sort of like you don't want 1 because it's unreliable. You want the 3 so you can draw it. Maybe it's 2 of, and then you run like building orders or something like that because you're already on building orders,
Fair.
right? Because you're
Yeah. No. I'm totally. It feels a lot like the Arbor.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, I think it's a 2 of.
It's expensive, and honestly, though, the thing is, though, I think that's good for 2.0 that they're being kind of conservative with their power curve
For sure.
with some of these things, because the last thing you want is like all these things to be undercosted and like choke decks are everywhere. Like people are just stealing all your gold.
So this makes me question, like, so how did they price all that Lannister stuff?
That's a good point.
But that said, though, I like it for Night's Watch, if only because it feeds into the idea that you want to hamper your opponent, and this is another way to do that. Plus, unlike a meager
Contribution.
contribution, you're never screwed out of it.
Yeah.
by initiative, like, because this happens regardless of.
That's
Okay.
true.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, you collect gold in initiative order when you start to marshal. So if Night's Watch goes first, a meager contribution can't be played. Your opponent usually does not have any gold.
The only reason why I won't play this card is because I don't play Night's Watch.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we're moving on to Shawn. Let's do the next one.
Yeah, I got you, buddy. Oh, we're in Brathian. I got the next two. All right, so we have it is White Raven. It is a 2-cost character, not unique. Only has a power icon, 1 strength. It is non-loyal. Keyworded Raven. Forced reaction. After you lose a power challenge, sacrifice White Raven. Reaction, after you win dominance, if there is a summer or winter plot card revealed, gain 1 power for your faction. I don't like it.
I would love it if it didn't have the summer winter thing.
That's a sticking point for you, right?
It really is, and I know that they've spoiled agendas
Yes,
for future
they
packs
have.
that have a lot to do with summer winter things. So I know it will become a bigger thing, but just
It will, for sure. It was a huge part of Game of Thrones 1.0.
okay, sure. I never played first edition, so I don't know.
I'm kind of, as a harbinger of things, this is your White
Yeah.
Raven. There are more plots. There will be more keyworded plot cards for summer and winter. There's just a ton of them.
But just it's in Baratheon, so you're gonna have 2 filthy accusations, and those aren't either.
I mean, maybe.
Not every Baratheon deck runs 2 filthy accusations. As somebody who has played a quite a bit of Baratheon, me and Bobby B go way back. There's in fact, for instance, I was running a Baratheon Tyrell version that was actually Knights and Ladies that didn't need the stand package. It actually only ran Melisandre because she was a lady. This is actually, you're going to see this in power aggro decks, which is something that Baratheon actually does really well. I don't like the way that it gains its power. And you'll see this is a running theme actually with Baratheon currently, is they have a lot of stuff that if something bad happens, you lose something. And you have to be really careful about, I guess, going all in on those effects, because you get 2 bad turns and you've lost the game.
You get snowballed. You fall behind.
Yeah.
It's very thematic.
Gendry is like a really great card for that like kind of dominance aggro package, and but that said though, like if you can't ever gain dominance, you'll just lose cards.
Speaking of Gendry, that's who's fighting the White Raven for card slots, and I think that Gendry's going to win it almost every time.
He's a higher strength.
Yep.
He's easier to keep on the board. There are other things that protect him, because if you just play another bastard in hiding, he's fine. So I maybe in a future deck. I don't see it now though. But this next one I am actually super excited about.
Yeah, I've seen it. I read.
So this is a 3-cost attachment. It is the Ruby of Rawler. It is unique. Keyworded item in Rawler. It is a Rawler character only, and that was 3 Rawlers in 4 seconds.
I always said Rawler.
Reaction. After you win an intrigue challenge in which the attached character is attacking, name a card. The losing opponent reveals his or her hand and discards each card with that name.
So dope.
So I actually like what Renee, we were talking about this briefly before we came in, so I'm going to let him, I agree with him.
Oh, okay. So I actually think it's a fairly mediocre card, and it needs to be. It needs to be because it's a R'hllor Brawler, however you pronounce it. It's keyworded, and if too many good R'hllor cards are printed, it's just going to be like Mulligan for Melisandre the game.
It kind of already is.
So it's a hefty cost, but you get a good effect out of it. It has kind of that combo thing going, and it could be kind of useful meta-wise. When Shawn plays me, he's just going to say, "Tears of List, Tears of List." He doesn't even have to look at my hand. He's just going to say, "Tears of List, put to the sword."
I don't care because I don't want those cards.
or whatever it is,
milk,
or whatever is the worst thing at the moment, right?
Yeah.
That said, it's something that I probably wouldn't play. Maybe I would play like a one-of or something just to get the trigger until you draw it late enough in the game that you're likely to have Melisandre out. This is if you're going kind of all in on the Neil package.
For sure. And which is a very valid. I also want to point out that it is not loyal, which means if you're bannering the package into another faction, this does give you another instance. It adds a little bit of consistency, takes away a little bit of that variance about making sure that you're getting the effect that you're paying for essentially by taking that agenda by bannering to the stag.
You said agenda, and I was like, we're not talking about Netrunner, what are you doing? But speaking of Netrunner, they did, I bring it up, and I'm like, oh, speaking of.
You can't have it both ways.
They printed a card similar to this for Netrunner, and what I think of this is just, kind of giving you something for saying, if you know the game really well, here you go. If you know what your opponent's gonna use, if you know, what the worst thing, you said the worst thing at the time, yeah, but if you know what that is, you have the upper hand.
Oh yeah.
So if you're kind of newer to Game of Thrones, this card is not gonna do you any good. You're gonna be like,
you just wait till you play like a Scene in Flames or something. You play a Scene in Flames and then you put this down.
I actually think it has a lot of legs against Lannister due to the number of ambush effects. Because you can be like,
oh, something's
the Hound. But if the Hound bounces back ever, you can just be like, no.
Let's put the brakes on this. You have to win an intrigue against Lannister as Baratheon.
So that's not going to happen. Yeah, how do you win an intrigue as Baratheon anyways?
It can if they're just...
It can. I'm just pointing out that against certain factions, this will have more strengths than others. That said, though, he does make a great point. The one faction it would probably work best against, it can't work against.
The only thing I can think of, oh my gosh, is it after somebody plays a summons or something?
Oh,
so you know what's in their hand?
Sure.
Which I've seen people, I've definitely seen someone play a summons, pull a power card in their hand, a really good one, and then not marshal it. Like,
I've had to do it a couple of times.
Yeah, because you might not have had the goal.
Every time I play summons, I am...
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about summons, though. It's only the top 10 cards of your deck.
So you might not get what you need.
You might not get what you need, and you take what you can get instead.
That's true.
That said, though, actually, I really like that interaction because it's like, oh, you just marshaled for Daenerys? What you got?
It is.
So, interesting.
Very interesting. All right, we got a lot more to get through. Let's talk about Janos Slynt, who is another character that I don't ever remember seeing in the show so far, I don't think. But he's a 5 gold character, military intrigue, 2 strength. He is unique and loyal to Lannister. He is a mercenary. He's got intimidate and action. Pay 1 gold to give Janos Slynt plus 2 strength until the end of the phase. What do we think?
Any other house, it would be terrible. Maybe Tyrell, but I mean, like it kind of works for Lannister. I think it's a reasonable late game card. Hands are getting thin. You have a bunch of gold from Tyrion. You top deck your put to the sword or something, and he will push it through. It'll cost you, like 8 gold, but he'll push it through.
I do want to point out he's got anti-synergy with Tywin. Because every gold that you pay to him is 1 less, it's 2 less strength you'll have for dominance. So like this is something you use to push through a challenge.
Exactly. I think he's a good just vent for that extra gold you're getting off of various effects.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go. What's it called? If you are at that point in Lannister that you can get to where you just have so much gold.
Which is like turn 3.
Yeah, and you're just like, what do I need? Because my thought, I'm thinking of like, do I really want to pay 6 gold to get a 4 strength 2 icon character? Because that's what it is.
That's one of the drawbacks of him. You kind of have to already be ahead to put him down because you're taking a big tempo.
So he does feel a little win more.
Maybe. I don't think he's bad, but I would be hesitant to put him in one of my decks.
My biggest thing intimidate is a big deal.
It is.
That
is nice.
Controllable intimidate is even better because if you need to win by a certain amount to kneel something, you know how much it's going to cost you. The thing that really bothers me about him is the only way to reduce his cost is through fealty. And normal reducers like
because no lord.
No lord. He's
Martell problems.
Yeah, they're all bastards. Yeah, so I'm not a fan, but I also think Lannister can die in a fire. So
All right, Renee, why don't you take us away with the next one?
All right, Levies at the Rock. It's a zero-cost event that reads Reaction. After a player initiates a challenge against you, move up to X gold from that player's gold pool into your own, where X is the number of attacking characters.
I think the only thing I can really think of is like anti-put to the sword. Like really, when is an opponent gonna have a lot of gold just in their gold pool during the challenges phase?
other Lannister players.
Yeah.
People running ambush and events, yeah.
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 True. And it's just to go against that.
I feel like this is much more of a late game card than I don't know. It's so
It's
hard.
it looks like a fun card. I could see myself putting this in a deck and playing around with it a bit, and then maybe just deciding that hand's judgment's better.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should have just had a treachery instead. Like it.
I mean, I guess if you're like treacheries are in another deck or something.
No. I mean, I think that this is something that would need a little play testing. I don't want to just like throw it under the bus outright.
Yeah.
You know.
But I'm not sure about it.
There is one. Okay, first of all, I also want to point out that it is not loyal, and then two. I think this is going to be a card for the more ambush style Lannister that we're going to be see coming out in Lions of Casterly Rock.
Okay.
Because this is something where like they attack, you didn't have much on your board to begin with. You take whatever gold they had, and you're using whatever gold you have to now drop in a couple. I don't think it's great, but I think that's where they're going with this.
This is another one of those in the next couple of
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, it's one of those effects that if it proves to be good, could be oppressive. So I'm curious to see how it pans out.
Cool.
I won't be play testing it because it's in a terrible house.
Speaking of terrible houses,
Hey!
segues are awesome, dude.
Hey!
Greyjoy, Captain's Daughter, 4 gold character with only power, 2 strength, non-loyal, and ally, and reaction. After a non-loyal character enters play, kneel your faction card and sacrifice Captain's Daughter to place that character on top of its owner's deck. Boom City.
So this feels like Casting Grey for Greyjoy.
Casting Grey.
Casting Grey is a Martell card that whenever you lose a challenge, it's a location.
Yes.
You can bounce it.
Bounce something back to your hand. So I play a lot of Greyjoy. There's a couple problems with this card, and then there's like one really good part. The first part, the cost, it's expensive, but again, like Renee's saying, these effects should be expensive.
Yeah.
These are game changing. Throwing somebody's character not just back to their hand, but to the top of their deck it's rough.
It slows down their card draw
For sure.
for next turn. It and I do like that it has non-loyal, so it is somewhat limited. You said this to me earlier. It's attacking the bannered houses, but at least it's the good cards, not the power cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing that I don't like about it is Greyjoy right now really likes to run fealty. And not kneeling your house card for getting something onto the field is hard in
Yes.
Greyjoy. And
I agree.
there are going to be turns where this will be on the table and you're going to want to use it and you can't because you like Marshall Balin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and as soon as you do that, if especially if you're marshalling first, I mean, you kneel your house card, you put down Balon, like, oh, there's my window. Here comes Mary Mazdur.
Yep, and now the one card you wanted it to hit,
Yeah.
you can't. Because this card screams to me, Mary Mazdur, go away. I don't like you anymore.
This card kind of frustrates me because Shawn and I were talking actually, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that in the card pool as it exists, there wasn't really counterplay for ambush. All you really had was maybe supporting the faith to empty their gold pool or like a few other little ways to play around it. And I actually think that this is pretty nice anti-ambush tech. Because I don't know of many loyal ambushers. And even so.
Well, I think the City Watch.
And I think Ari, who just came out.
She is loyal.
Yeah.
Actually.
But even so, like ambush gets around stealth. and it can be pretty difficult to deal with, especially Baratheon. The City Watch is pretty decent.
So good.
But again, part of the reason why this card frustrates me is because it's like an answer to my prayers, but it's very, very, very highly costed.
Yeah.
I think that this is
if
its ability isn't relevant, marshalling it is going to be a mistake. It's very similar to Newly Made Lord. Newly Made Lord, when he's good, he's amazing. But there are just games where you draw him and you're just like...
Leave him in your hand.
4 gold claim soak? I guess I have to.
Yeah. I completely agree. The nice thing is again, it doesn't get hit by first knows a winner, which means if you do need to play it, you can leave it out on the table. It's going to be relatively safe. As a Greyjoy player, you run this deck, so you run Greyjoy Fealty because it runs lean. Like you've only got so much gold. You're trying to do as much work with it as possible. A misstep with this will cause you to wildly spin out of your own own deck's tempo. So, the next one though, I love, except for one thing again.
Let's read it.
Yeah.
Let's read it.
Yeah. So we have Pike. It is unique, ironic. 2 cost location. It is loyal also. Keyworded Iron Islands. Action: Neil Pike to choose a character until the end of the phase. The character gains stealth. So, Renee, how many locations does Greyjoy like to run now?
I'm pretty sure Greyjoy decks now are just like Asha and 30 locations. She just she has a bunch of boats on a leash. And I've
got an island. I've got a...
Yeah, no, you have to start cutting locations. It's just there's so many amazing choices. You've got Iron Fleet Scouts, you've got Iron Mines. They're just all over the place.
Yeah,
Great Kraken.
It's a Seastone Chair.
They're so good.
and that's not even all of them.
And the other Tom, he runs Political Disaster. He's like the only person I know who runs Political Disaster, and it's actually really rough.
Yeah.
What's Political Disaster?
It's wildfire for locations, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because that hits Greyjoy right in the jimmy.
Well, my question about this card is, why would you? And I understand, the benefits to this, but like for me, I'd much rather do the Wildling Scout or whatever. The 2. It's a 2 gold, 2 strength intrigue icon. You can sacrifice it to give somebody stealth. Like, obviously this is better just because, it's every turn, but...
Yeah, I think Greyjoy would be running Pike over the Scout if they didn't just need bodies on the table.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Oftentimes we need a claims up because Greyjoy will very often just eat a military challenge and just kill a chud just to guarantee board position. And my locations, my locations are like so set in that deck. Like there's just things you have to run to make Greyjoy function, and it's hard to. I mean, like it's getting to the point where you don't even run neutral cards anymore. Like you take Fealty and you don't even run the 15 neutral cards. You're like down to like 9 now.
The exception being some of the Greyjoy, like Lord of the Crossing decks, they're gonna want to get that icon spread.
True,
but I hear you.
I do Lord of the Crossings, and I like it.
Greyjoy Lord of the Crossing is interesting. I actually don't hate it. I just haven't had the time to
experiment with it.
It can be dope. It can be so dope.
Yeah. There's enough stealth in it. It's downright terrifying.
Oh yeah. Now we're moving on to
Viserys.
Viserys Targaryen, 2 cost character, power icon, 1 strength, loyal to Targaryen. He's a king and a lord. He's no king. While Viserys Targaryen is attacking, each king character must be declared as a defender if able. Interrupt. When the dominance phase ends, if an opponent controls a king character, Viserys Targaryen gains 1. If no opponent.
Yes.
That's very big distinction.
If he is the only king.
If he's the only king, he gains a power. Yeah. Very big distinction. Whoopsie daisy.
So proof again that nobody likes Viserys.
Yeah.
I think in the current environment, and especially the way people are playing around here, core set Viserys is kind of mandatory. The attachment control that he provides in the claim soak is just something that I feel that Targaryen needs right now. I'm also kind of uncomfortable about trying to accumulate power on a 1 strength mono icon that is going to be the first thing I want to throw away when someone wildfires.
I mean, it's very thematic.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, no, everybody hates Viserys.
Yeah.
And Sean mentioned it earlier when we were outside that he is lure. He is the bait to try and do Dracarys things that would normally not participate in a challenge.
For instance, like Rob, who normally, well, no, because Rob doesn't mind fighting. There's there a king that's out that doesn't mind like.
Well, it's more that they'll try to play around Dracarys
True.
if they think you can kill something, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's a lot of pieces that have to go into this now. First, you have to have most kings are going to be above strength 4.
So you've got to have with like crown of gold, or you have to have a plot that has.
You're just going to either need the plot, you're gonna have Daenerys standing, and then you just set up this like, oh, you've activated my trap card, and here's my 14 things. They all come together, and now your king is dead.
Yeah, too combo-y.
Yeah. I do have some respect though for when they print cards that are like very thematic, not necessarily good for the game, but like, hey, if you're not worried about being highly competitive and you just want to have some fun, here you go. Be super thematic with this card. Look at that. I think it's cool. They do that in Netrunner too.
People use Nedley.
Yeah, you're very Nedley in that regard.
Nedley.
So, like there's Johnny, Timmys, and Spikes in Magic, in Game of Thrones, they're widely referred to as Jaimies, Shaggas, and Neds. So Shaggas are like, I want to do my one cool thing. Jaimies are, I will win, I don't care how. And then your Neds are, you're like, guys, I put every start card in this deck.
I love wolves.
Yeah, I actually have one of those. But that's because I hate Stark. So, but that is where you'll hear it referred to as Nedley. And I think this is a very Nedley card. It's there for players like you that like the theming of the game.
Cool players.
No, it's cool. I'm much more of a Shagga. I'm like, I like all unopposed challenges. Enjoy.
Well, Sean, since you won't shut up, how about you do the next one?
Right. So that is Shirak Kia. It is a zero-cost event. It is Targaryen. It is non-loyal. Another Omen, actually, mirroring the other card, which is the Dragon's Tail. It is actually the art from a different direction, which is really cool, because it's the same comment, just from the other continent.
Yep.
So it is reaction after you win a power challenge by 5 or more strength. Kneel your faction card to choose and stand a participating character. This is great in those, I guess, Targaryen bomb decks, where you're just trying to like do things with
Daenerys.
Daenerys, Miri, and Drogo.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think of the Targaryen decks that kind of came out earlier in the game's life. Where people were just kind of taking Daenerys and just going Voltron on her. They're like, oh, here's the seal of the king, and then they would just load tons of stuff onto Daenerys and then just go bomb, bomb, bomb.
Yep.
It could be a part of some kind of like fun combo, like going all in on one character.
I think this would be terrifying with Miri. If you get Miri to stand a second time, and you're doing it again. It just, I'm not saying it's great.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
It is.
Because
we already know that this is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you have Miri, win by 5 or more against an opponent who doesn't want to get hit with Miri.
Yeah,
and that's why it's kind of a questionable card.
So you run her out of Tyrell, you knight her, then you throw a warhorse on her, and then the Marin Heat, and then you throw Marjorie in there, then you do this, and it's way too many moving parts.
It's not going to work.
Kill one guy.
It might work like 1 in every 40 games, and you can feel like a god. But,
And that, my friends, is Shagga.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Sean will take those odds.
Never tell me the odds.
All right.
It's Martell.
Yeah, Martell is kind of my thing. It's a Harmon Euler? I'm not sure.
You should know, man.
I've always said Uller.
Okay. He is a 6 gold cost character with a military and power icon. He's 4 strength. House Uller, Lord, has renown. Each Sand Snake character in your hand gains ambush X. X is 1 less than that card's printed cost.
I have no idea how to feel about this card because it's A, Martell, and B,
It's actually pretty good. The thing about this card though is it takes Martell decks in a different direction than where they're currently going. It's kind of like a horizontal game space sort of thing. First off, he's a lord. That's pretty good. Martell's kind of hurting for good ways to use Noble Cause, and to make Doran Martell relevant, because Doran Martell doesn't really buff that many characters. Also, this kind of encourages you to put Bastard Daughters back in your deck.
Right.
That way, you can run, first snows, bounce a bunch of stuff, and then in case of emergency, just drop a Bastard Daughter to eat Claim Soak on that turn.
Sure.
Make them discard a card. It's pretty reasonable. Now, again, you have to I think you need to play him in one of those decks that's using Doran, maybe like a Fealty deck, because otherwise he's overcosted. Because you do want that strength buff from Doran. You do want to take advantage of the Sand Snakes that you might not be using in another deck, like which one is Obara Sand?
Right.
Doesn't see play in some decks.
Whereas in this deck, she actually...
She might, yeah.
I like the fact that it's X -1, which
It
means
is nice.
it's almost always a tempo swing in your favor to ambush them. Plus, it lets you kind of, interestingly enough, thematically, it lets you play your cards closer to your chest, which is much more a Martell thing.
Also, don't forget he has Renown. That's not something Martell has much of. I mean, the Red Viper's got his trigger,
Weird
and
Renown.
then Knights of the Sun. That's pretty much all the Renown in Martell that I can think of.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think he's neat. There's one of the cooler horizontal deck space things going on in this deck.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most powerful card, but definitely one of the more interesting ones in the pack. Tower of the Sun.
Yeah. This one's Tower of the Sun. It's unique. It's a 2 gold location. It is loyal. Dorn. Reaction. After an event is played, gain a gold. Limit once per phase.
So we were all disagreed on this one.
Interesting. I think the art's gorgeous. Make a playmat, please. I'll buy it.
It is quite a pretty card.
Yeah.
In terms of its effect, though,
I don't like it at all.
Yeah. Actually, no. I was kind of in the same boat. I'm not a huge fan of it.
yeah.
Most of the decks.
We're all agreeing.
Oh, I thought. Okay, so this. It may have been a
The
different
next card is the one that we
We
were.
disagree. Okay, I apologize. So
Yeah.
like you.
Because it's once per phase, so you can't just you can't go crazy. You can't just play like a 20, 30 event deck and just
It's
go ham.
It's 2 gold and it's unique, which means you usually don't want to run more than 2, if you run 2.
It does kind of let you do the kind of rattlesnake thing where it's just sort of like, I just played this nasty event, now I have another gold. Do you want to mess with me?
And then you don't do anything with it because you didn't have it. I mean,
Yeah, it's I'm not fond. It might be something later, but currently I'm not going to run it, and I'm a Martell main. It's probably not going to make it in my decks.
I would just do tourney grounds instead.
yeah,
Just to reduce the cost instead of
Tourney
having
grounds
to
is
have the gold. You
Yeah.
know?
yeah, fair. I mean, it just. I know there are better Martell events coming. Like if you wanted to lean that way, this is what they were known for. In 1.0 was those absolutely crippling. They played like a blue deck in Magic. It was just like, no, not having a turn, I guess.
Yeah.
And
you can do a bit of that now where you're just like, oh, I bounce with Gaston Gray, then play Viperize.
and then contain, and then and
Yeah.
just. But it's not there yet, and this is again. You're right. This is like 3 cycles from now. This card will be like, oh, this gets slotted in
It
now.
might be relevant. I'm not sure.
Go ahead. You're so excited about this card.
So the next one is a neutral card. It's called Pyromancers. It's a 5 gold character. It's got 1 intrigue icon. It's got the only icon it has is intrigue. It's 2 strength. It's an ally. Dominance action, kneel Pyromancers and discard 1 power from your faction card to choose a non-limited location and discard it from play. Now the first time I read this, I read it as non-unique location. And I was like, oh, okay. But now that I see non-limited, just means you're just not getting rid of the Rose Road and the King's Road, basically. And then
or their faction
or
reducers.
their faction reducers. So I think it's I'm really torn on this card because outside of Put to the Torch, this is the only way that I would see myself destroying somebody's locations.
Well, it's
You
a
know what I mean?
Greyjoy player. That's not how I feel, but you know.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking about like Chamber of the Painted Table, the
For sure.
Iron Throne, the Wall. Like those are so great.
Winterfell.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the point
Winterfell.
I was going to come around to. That this is another card that kind of breaks my heart a little because I like my tricky cards. I like my triggered effects. I like my Winterfell is so powerful, and there's so few ways to deal with it. I can't think of any really good ways to deal with it.
I sat down with like Tristan like a week ago.
Yeah.
And there is no way to deal with Winterfell during the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, you can play Nightmares on it. I think you can. Nightmares might be character only.
Frozen Solid, I think.
No, that's 3 cost.
No,
or
that's
under.
yeah.
I was about to say Frozen Solid.
Winter plots. Just you have, but that's not might not fit your deck, and then you go into a tournament.
Do you see why I hate it? Do you see why I hate
then you
it?
go into a tournament, and then you don't play against any like Stark fealty, and you cry.
And then on top of it, you're playing into a Winterfell. It's usually got Corset Caitlyn, so it's like two challenges
Yeah.
you can't do any combat tricks in.
But yeah, so in order to, you have to have like multiple avenues of attack and hope they pick the wrong one to defend against. It can be
This
oppressive.
one bypasses all of that because it's a dominance action.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
That's the
It
thing.
is such an expensive card. You might not even have the power on your card.
When I see discard a power, I think sacrifice an agenda in Netrunner.
Yeah.
Like
That
it's so
really is
like,
harsh,
it's the
but
same
it's-
thing.
it's,
It's like I mean, I want that effect so bad, but
But if you're going for the late game and you're sacrificing like your power for board position, I mean, it's a reasonable cost to pay. The power is 5 gold for a 2-cost mono icon is just it's so
It's
painful.
rough. So I'm wondering, is this something where we start seeing a little bit more toolboxing in the deck, where you have a bunch of like one-off kind of, a little bit more situational characters, and you start running like summons?
I mean, sure, but that's one plot, right?
Yeah.
You don't have many tutors to go around. Now, I mean, you can put Pyromancers into play with Arion Martel.
Fair.
That is pretty nice.
Well, that's one faction.
Yeah, but and I mean, more options might appear in the future.
Maybe I should just stop playing all those really brutally straightforward Baratheon Greyjoy guys. You guys are done. I can't deal with it.
You have less to worry about from Winterfell.
True. I like the effect. I don't like the cost.
Yeah.
But that said, though, that should be the way it is.
I agree with you. I agree. If this was 3 cost, 2 cost,
I would do this.
If it gave you gold, sorry.
Yeah, that just. Yeah, it needs to exist. This is going to end up in decks. You need to be aware that this exists in the meta.
Yeah.
Particularly if you are a Stark player.
I'm just so torn.
Yeah,
Just so
it remains to be seen if anyone will bother to play it.
But I think the threat of it is like much like running political disaster
Yeah.
against Greyjoy.
But even so, they're going to be on 3 copies. They can dupe it. You know,
Fair.
They don't. It's not.
You can't do it.
unique.
Not unique.
Winterfell is not unique.
Oh,
I
you're
thought
talking
you
about.
meant Pyro.
We were talking about
yeah.
Pyro.
No. Like, you know, Winterfell gets duped, and now suddenly you're just throwing power down the sink, just trying to grind
Yeah.
through it and hope this thing stays out long.
I would
to do
rather
its
just
job.
burn it to the ground the normal way. Just run them out of challenges.
Until they use Winterfell, and then you can't burn it to the ground.
Hey, can't do it against all 3 challenges.
Sure. Alright.
So,
On to our first plot of the back.
Reigns of Autumn. I'll go ahead and do this.
Go
one.
for it.
So, Reigns of Autumn, it is a neutral plot. It is 4 gold, 3 initiative, 1 claim, 6 reserve. It is keyworded omen. Lots of omens in this
I
pack.
know, right?
Characters and locations do not provide positive gold modifiers.
Question: are there any things that provide negative gold modifiers?
Yes, there is. Pleasure Barge.
Correct.
Yeah, Tyrell card. But that card's also a burst draw, which is the downside. It's something you play late in the game, where its negative gold modifier won't matter. But this card is a solid meh.
Yeah. I mean, if Omen starts to mean something, it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's honestly what I'm thinking. Game of Thrones has a good amount of that trait love, you know. So I can definitely see that coming up pretty soon.
I mean, 4-3-1 is not bad stats. 4 is playable.
It's sort of.
That's
I
good
would
work.
please stop. you know, like
Yeah.
it's a way to turn off Tywin for a turn,
That's
like
true.
a little bit, you know. It's
Or if they've marshaled an arbor.
Littlefinger, or
I think the word that you said is good, playable. Like 4 gold, you know, is playable. Like I
It
could
is.
do it, but
I mean,
you know.
I just want to point out that for a higher initiative, wildfire exists. It does.
yeah.
Just pointing out that like that is a plot that gets played.
Yeah, and that seems to be the way plots are in this game. They've done a pretty good job of making them all pretty applicable and just if the meta is appropriate. And they've done a good job of making them give you a decent amount of gold initiative and claim in a good balance. So it really just comes down to what you need, and I don't see myself needing this right now.
Yeah.
All right,
Last card.
last card. I'm excited about this one. So this is Varys' Riddle. It is a 5 gold, 6 initiative, 1 claim, 7 reserve. I was not expecting that. I didn't realize it was 7 reserve. It is a neutral plot card. It is both a riddle and a scheme. Now, riddle's important here. When revealed, initiate when revealed ability on a revealed non-riddle plot card as though as you had just revealed it.
It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
You did a great job, buddy.
That was
Great job.
initiate when the review. Anyway, so basically this means that this triggers when revealed ability on another revealed plot triggers, as long as it's not a riddle. And
So double march to the wall.
double wildfire.
Double
that's worth.
everything.
Yeah, it's essentially double everything. Double
It's like me
trading
at
with the
Burger King. Double everything.
double trading with the Bentoshi. This could be a double calling the banners, which is kind of interesting. So the Shaga in me loves the hell out of this. The Jamie that I know Renee tries to beat into me is telling me this is a bad card. It's high variance is what it is.
Yeah, I think that, again, there's going to be games where you're going to soul read your opponent and you're just going to crush them with this, and then there's going to be games where they'll either have nothing relevant to copy, but if they have nothing relevant to copy, it's still decent. It's a 5 gold, 6 initiative plot.
Yeah.
But there are times when it could just actively undermine you. You just do it on trading with the Bentoshi, and now they're on 13 gold. Or like I mentioned before, it can make you double march yourself, and you thought you were safe from march to the wall, and you have so little control over it, and that's why it makes me less eager compared to I like some of the denial plots where it's just sort of like, don't hurt me this turn. I don't want anything really bad to happen to me. This is kind of the opposite for like it's like, let's go chaos.
Roll the dice.
I don't know, like I think you might do this, but if you don't, I'm going to be really sad.
I've got 2 things to say about this. One, I do agree with you that the stats are just all right. Like if this triggers kind of a nothing, right?
Yeah.
Then it's better than Reigns of Autumn in the effect that like if it's printed text doesn't really do too much. I mean, you still got your 5 gold from it, 6 initiative, and 7 cards in your hand. Like that's not a bad thing per se. And I will say the Eddie in me. Nettie in me likes the idea that it's very thematic in the Game of Thrones and that it's the rolling the dice. It's the high risk, high reward. However, I definitely think this is hands down a melee deck.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't really talked as much about, today as we could have. But yeah, no, this is relevant in melee. I feel.
That said, though, we didn't have a lot of really great melee cards come through. There's a lot of this pack that was like built around deck archetype stuff, which was not just straight up good in. Actually, the only one that I think is relevant in melee is actually the White Raven. Winning dominance is much easier in melee than it is.
I mean, occasionally there is the player who likes to be a bit of a spoiler in melee, and Bitterbridge Encampment does let you just cause chaos. And I think you could also potentially use the Dragon's Tail as like a bargaining chip, maybe.
For sure,
like
that adds a lot of.
If you want to have that kind of social interaction and just like, I'll give you 2 cards. I know you want to attack me, but
trading with the Bentoshi is great for that too.
Wait, is it every? Yeah, it's every opponent gains it.
Right, but you can leverage the turn that you do it for that. But you're absolutely right that it's very much a melee card. You will see it much more often in like a Baratheon dominance deck where it's like, I've got a plot I don't care about. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That said, though, I mean, like, overall, I feel like the power level of this pack is like a 6 out of 10. It's good. It's not. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. If you're playing Game of Thrones and you're watching this video, you're probably getting every pack that comes out. I don't cherry pick my chapter packs.
No.
Or my other packs. I'm getting everything. So
I'm just saying
whatever,
that
you know?
the overall feel of this is you're going to be picking this pack up for a specific reason. Like, this isn't like...
It's the reason you want every pack?
Well, yeah. My point being is say there are people out there that just play a house, you know, and if you're just a Stark player, this is not a first pick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is... You're going to go pick up something else first. Yeah, well, obviously. I'm just pointing out that...
sure.
That said, though, it's not bad. These are all cards that are going to make you think about the game as opposed to kind of just playing the game for you.
I'm hoping to revisit it. You know, maybe when more Tully cards come out, or if the meta changes to the point where suddenly I'm willing to pay 5 gold for trash location, right? Like, it's not just Winterfell. Like, if problem locations become the norm, well, people, I think, will probably pony up the cost.
Yeah. I know for sure at this point I am getting sick of Winterfell. I already disliked Stark to begin with, and now it's just like this bunch of idiots in a castle, and that castle is frustrating. That's it though. I do like the pack. I think it'll be interesting to see the rest of the cycle and kind of where their design philosophy went with this. We know we're getting more kings. More kings mean Viserys is more relevant. It'll be interesting. I think we're also getting a Tyrell version of Renly later in the cycle.
And we're getting a Targaryen version of Sir Barristan Selmy.
Yeah.
That's going to be tight.
The hardest old man ever.
All right. Well, guys, that was this War of the Five Kings across the 7 kingdoms.
Correct.
Right? All right. Let us know what you thought down below. Let us know what cards you're excited about, what house you play. And hey, while you're here, subscribe and you'll never be bored.